Should be good to go. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Making sure that it's good to go. Yes, let's check sound. Looks like we've got some sound. Spectacular. Okay, so let's go change my shoes, and we're going to adventure on outside. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. My day is okay. Could be better, could be worse, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Let me get my shoes and such on. Right here. With my Mr. Rogers shoes. It's a lovely, beautiful, lovely day outside today here in Flat Top. Can't complain. Couldn't ask for a better day, especially in March. It's not raining, it's not snowing. There's a gentle breeze. Temperature is just perfect to be outside. Lovely, I say. Lovely. Getting my shoe tied up so I can get some water for Lisa, and then we can talk some more about all the fun things that we need to do today.
Oh shit, okay, let's get this flag up.
So I still got a little bit more left to tie up, and then we'll be good to go. But you just can't see me tying my shoes from the angle I set it up. No worries. Okay. What? Nothing. Okay, current temperature is 52 degrees or 11 C. So 52 Fahrenheit, 11 C. So beautiful, beautiful day. So we're going to peek up here at the sky in just a second. Let me spin the camera around so you guys can see the sky. I hit the wrong one. Yeah, the cool fence we've been working on. Kind of a milky sky. So yeah, that's the fence we've been working on, trying to redo the fence since over the winter we've had some issues with it, so trying to get it addressed. So we've got, that's the tomorrow when I get the next bit of boards, that'll be the next area that we work on. And always new chores, always interesting things to do here on the farm. So quack, quack, duckies. So, if you guys read the description, might be trying to understand what the description means. Well, my Aunt Icie has transcended this life and decided to go on to a new, well, I don't know if decided it's the right choice, but it's on her next adventure. And so a great Aunt Icie. So she had a wonderful life, wonderful person. I will miss her dearly, but one of the important aspects of life is the full cycle of life. And as hard as it is to miss the energy of a person that won't be with us any longer, there's the cool thing about the memories that they give us is that they live on forever in our hearts and live on forever for us. And so, yeah. There's a lot more I could say. I'm just not quite there yet. So it's been a this March has been a tough March so far, and just the in the first in this first few days of March, lots of craziness has happened. So yeah, so I lost a good friend, and now I lost my great aunt, and yeah, kind of really brings you down to reality again, and kind of makes you figure out reminds you of what's important in life. And again, I am thankful, Mark Boggs. I'm thankful that I live on the farm, because I will say that living on a farm and regularly seeing the life cycle definitely makes you understand life and death slightly different. I think one of the things that I don't like about our current society is just how separate we have we've kind of put death in a little pocket that we kind of hide away, and I think that actually does a major disservice for us as people, as individuals, as groups, as society, when we pocket away death, that important part of life, the end of the book. When we pocket that away, and we sterilize it, we kind of pretend it's not there. I also think that it cheapens it a little bit, because one of the things that I do like is the wrong word. One of the things about death that I do find very interesting is the fact that a lot of the memories that you've not had about that particular person, or the memories that you've not thought about because there really wasn't reasons, because you were building new memories, but they all get flooded back, and they're there for you to relive, and you get to relive some of those awesome memories that you had that maybe weren't the greatest. They weren't the top 10, but they were just as memorable for their averageness, their everyday part of life that you wouldn't normally just purposely relive. And so I just I don't I'm not sure I like where society and death is leading, and the way we sterilize it, especially now during these silly times where we're so separated from it. So, yes. So one of the other things is folks like to know things about my traditions, and I do things slightly different. So the tree behind me is that's my Lunacy tree, and every time someone I am close to passes on, we tie material into the tree. I have yet to tie material into the tree for my Aunt Icie. That'll be in the next day or so. And what I do is we just tie a piece of cloth to the tree, tie it around the branches, and of course it's going to over time disintegrate and to be gone. But the idea is as we look at it flapping in the wind, and as we see it there, it's just a reminder. It's a reminder how life goes. Kind of reminds you of the cycle on, we initially see life, and we tie something fresh and new to the tree, and then over time it slowly disintegrates, and it ages, and then at a particular time it won't be as present, but it will leave a mark in the tree. Not necessarily a scar in a way, but it will leave a mark in the tree. And because of that object in the tree, because of that life that that touched us, the tree will always, while that tree is being a tree, it'll always be affected by that other, that piece of material, that piece of cloth. And I like the I like how that is just a reminder of the people that we meet in our life and the people that are important to us and how they play in a role to shape us. And even if it's a small role, and even if it's only fleeting, that how they touch us changes things. So yes, I actually can. I actually will. I'll have to. This is a good enough time never to talk about it. So I actually have the way I'm going to be. The way I plan on being buried is I planned this many years ago. But I'm going to have a main location where I'm buried, and on my main tombstone will be multiple GPS locations. And the idea behind that is to, once you visit my tombstone, and if I'm in the ground or I'm not in the ground, it's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of a monument. So, but it will have GPS locations, and you will enter in those GPS locations, and you will go and visit spots. And the GPS locations are spots that I just feel that people should at least experience once in their life. If you truly want to understand me and my connection with the world around me, these GPS spots would be where you'd want to go to kind of get an idea behind who I am. And I came up with this idea because I used to spend a lot of time walking around cemeteries and reading the words and the stuff on there, and I always wondered, I wish I could know more about these individuals that have got these interesting tombstones, or these very plain tombstones, or things of that sort. I always like to know more. And I thought, well, if I had the opportunity to give people more, how would I do it? With limited words. And that's when I came up with the idea of having locations, kind of like a geocache or a treasure hunt or something of that sort. But instead of taking you someplace, things of that kind, I get to take you to places that I think that you should be, that I think would be interesting for you to see and to stand out and such like that. So that's me personally. So another interesting tradition of mine is every time someone passes, I get a totem of them. So I come up with an animal that I feel represents them. And then I have a stone totem of them, and I keep the stone totem on a board to remind myself of the individuals, and to maybe capture is the wrong word, to embody a place for part of their life energy to come and reside. So I have a totem on my, I have totems on my, on my counter, like where things are in my room, where I have the animals, where I have animals or totems of the folks in my life that have passed since I started doing that practice. So it's very interesting, since I know I probably view life and death different than other people. Being a reincarnationist, I don't view death as the end. I view it as just another chapter. And it's kind of cool. One of the challenges that I've challenged myself with many times is people that have transcended and gone on to other realms. I do always want to try to see this challenge of if I can meet them again in this life. So how cool would it be to try to see if I can find who they became, like what new person they transitioned into, what new energy they are, and see if I can meet them again. Like, that's just a really fun game in my head. So again, I know to a lot of folks that's not necessarily your belief system, and not necessarily something that might be right for you and your beliefs, but for me, as a reincarnationist, that is how I look, and is how I am excited in the future to see if I can meet past energies. So we're out here in the field. Let me spin around so you guys can see the hay field and just the gray skies and just flat top on a just kind of a gray overcast day. In a minute, we'll head back to the barn. We'll head back to the farm area, and we'll check out the baby bunnies, and we'll go through the typical fun adventures of that. But I thought I'd finish up with our conversation. If any of you guys have a tough time dealing with death, and it's just a concept that is still hard for you to grasp around, I do suggest typing in. I do suggest spending some time with Alan Watts, and just type in Alan Watts and death, and his the story and everything behind that is just absolutely spectacular. And so you should check that out. So, do I grow my own hay? Yes, this is my hay field that we are seeing. So currently I do not have a tractor to be able to harvest the hay. I do plan on trying to change that this year. It's just for those that maybe realize that I live on a very, very fixed budget. Try to live well within my means without going in debt, without making silly choices and things of that sort. So at the moment, I do some trading with some farmers that have equipment, but I'm actually reaching the point where I'm needing to have my own farming equipment. So tractor and farming equipment. So a tractor and things of that sort are something that will be on the horizon very, very soon. So hopefully as soon as this year. Oh, by the way, I did come up here. It is interesting that I led up here. So it does lead to the cemetery that is smack dab in the middle of my property. So, was there 6 people planted up here? Right there's one of my favorites. That's Herschel. Okay, so let's head back to the house now. Or let's head back to the barnyard area. And check out the baby bunnies and talk more about life on the farm and such like that. So whose cemetery is that? That's a tough question. It's a cemetery of folks that owned property in the vicinity many years ago. So going on 60 or so years ago now. So since my land is very this particular spot that we're walking in and things of that sort, the land is very old. It has lots of history behind it and things of that sort. So I think I've told you guys a little bit of the history. So part of the land that we're using and walking on was used by the flat top copperheads. It was also used by the Union troops with Camp Flat Top. If you trace back even farther than that, they're nearby, not on my particular land that I can show at least immediately, but nearby was some temporary Native American encampments when they passed through on their adventures through Appalachia. So lots of history here. And my house, my house was built in 1897. There was another house here prior to my house, but that house had, to the best of my knowledge and the history that I've researched, that house had burnt down. So, and my house was built kind of over top of the foundation and things of that sort for that. My house was actually, the reason why my house is so large, the Victorian house was so large here in the country, is it was actually used as a hospital. The woman who married the doctor, they wanted to have a nice fancy house, a city house, but it also needed to be practical. They needed to have practical purposes, and so her husband was a doctor. And so they built it with the idea of being able to have stay-over clinics and such like that. So it's kind of hard. It's a hard concept for here in modern days, because we don't really have, this concept of staying at your doctor while he's taking care of you is something that we're kind of separated from. But back in the day, that was more common, especially in very rural areas where it was hard to get to a major city, and it might take you hours or days or longer. And so if you wanted to be a rural doctor, you needed to make sure your house was big enough so that if people came to you, they could stay for a few days, or they could stay for the period of time that they needed to stay and be treated properly. So lots of great history here, lots of cool stuff. Part of the reason why I love old homes, part of the reason why I love living in Appalachia, part of the reason why I love Flat Top. So preservation of lost history and keeping stories alive that we can pass down for generations is just it's just kind of awesome. So I need to if you want to see, we discovered some new baby bunnies today, because why wouldn't we have some new baby bunnies? And so I just wanted to make him go back inside as he's adventuring out, so he doesn't turn into a bunny snacky snack. So here's Miss Sylvia. Let's say hi to Miss Sylvia today. Miss Sylvia, she's moving some hay around, trying to make herself a nice comfy spot to relax and sleep in. Yes, Fernando is he is definitely walking around wanting to know what I'm doing. So actually, I'm going to tell Fernando he's not allowed in there right now. Can't go in there right now, Fernando. There's baby bunnies, and I don't want you to eat them.
Are you looking for them, or are you not started yet?
No, there was a baby bunny sitting right here. I'm just telling Fernando to not go in there. Yeah, I don't, I've always thought it would be fun to have a friend for Sylvia, but a 600-pound pig is already hard to deal with. So having multiple 600-pound pigs would...
See, she cut her cheek again.
Yeah, I saw she cut her cheek again.
Well, she came and told me all about it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she wouldn't stop talking about it. And then I went and got her food, and she didn't. She rummaged, but then she was like, there's some good stuff in there.
I'll have to find something different when we go to the feed place next time and see if I can find something else.
Even in the pig bucket, there was good stuff.
Oh, okay. Just intermittent fasting is what Sylvia's doing.
Maybe, because her belly is getting a little skinny. You see how it's hanging right there?
Yeah.
On her period, though.
Yeah, no, I thought about it. Again, having multiple pigs is just is a lot of work. So
Well, multiple big pigs.
Yeah. So
Maybe they partly hibernate, you know, because you don't want to get too hot on these nice days with all the fur coat. And she knows winter's ending. Not really much to rummage, so why not just sleep? That's right in the dirty spot. That doesn't look comfortable at all, Sylvia.
I think she's comfortable enough. She's comfortable enough. Okay, let's go see the, let's spin around and let's go see the little tiny popcorn bunnies.
Dano, get out of there.
Yeah, he's not allowed in there right now.
Are we going to try to catch them?
It looks like there's 2, so yeah, we can try to catch them. Yeah. So we're gonna go say hi to the popcorn bunnies. That's the little baby bunnies that are born not too long ago. And see how the popcorn bunnies are doing. So the camera back around. Let me turn the light on because we need the light while we're in here. So Yam brought up a good point the other day about how some bunnies might not like the loud noises. So we're going to do some experiments in the future. Is we're going to raise some bunnies here in the barn, and then we'll raise some other bunnies not inside the barn, and see how all that works out. I do ultimately want to have one set up as a bunny barn and one set up as a chicken barn in the future. But right now, it's not quite as possible with the way we have things set up. So we're talking about putting in a new building soon, a new bunny building. So me and Lisa will have to do that. Oh, bunny knocked over the camera. You guys can see the cute little baby bunnies adventuring around. Oh, the little popcorn bunnies. And then the cute little regular bunny. The one that's a little bit older. He's getting nice and big and happy. So. Okay. Let's continue on. I keep forgetting to order these hooks. I need to order some more of these hooks. Silly me, silly me. Oh, I also need to feed them baby carrots. Yeah. Actually, the tops of carrots is actually what's better for rabbits. So I need to actually fix this. If you guys see how this is, I need to go. You guys see how the tarp is leaning down. I'll need to actually fix I need to fix this tarp so that we don't have as much leaning down. So you guys also know there's always something interesting to do on the farm, always something we need to be focusing on. So, and that just happens to be the one of those. So, as anybody, I think I mentioned it the other day, and I'd like some other people's opinions. So, I'm looking at some of those small greenhouses, the ones that have the plastic, not the plastic material, but like the corrugated plastic around the sides. So, I'm curious if you guys have had any experience with that. So where are my laying hens? Well, some of them are actually running around the farm right now. Some of the bigger chickens, and I will actually show you. I'll go back into the barn, and I'll show you some of the guys that are in here. So, what you were asking. So, in each of our little enclosures, we've got a couple hens right there. So, these are our silkies. Again, these guys are getting excited. We're only probably about a month or so away before we can start bringing out all of the cages, and everybody can have free range time. Protected free range time is what it is. So, and such like that. Yes, let me see if I can. I don't know if Lisa's collected any of the eggs yet, but all of our enclosures and such have places for eggs. So we have with these particular cages, we built these little egg doors. So as you guys can see right there, there's a hen. So let's see if she only. Oh, okay. So she's on. So you guys can see here's 2 eggs that this hen is on. So we're stealing her 2 eggs right now. You're a good chicken, aren't you? Yeah, a good dinosaur chicken. So she's not happy I'm stealing her eggs, but we're not ready for any babies from her just yet. We're trying to control who we're raising and such like that. And then some of our other cages and some of our other enclosures, like the ones that don't have the doors on them. Let me see if I can show you. They've got little spots. They have spots and such around. So I have thought a whole lot about the grand solar minimum. That's actually why the barn is built the way it is built. It's easy. I can easily add more insulation in here. I can easily do some modifications. So if I have to keep chickens more inside, it's also the reason why I will be adding more and more greenhouses around the property. It's also why I've really started focusing on permaculture and trying to figure out how to make microclimates so that if in the future I need to keep things a little bit warmer here, I can use thermal mass, and I can use radiant heat from the sun penetrating down onto rocks and such like that. So I've kind of thought in both directions. So if things get too hot, I've got a plan for that. If things get too cold, I have a plan for that. So and even if they start chemtrailing us like crazy for other things, so I've got things like so. You want to talk more about if the grand solar minimum? So there's a theory, and it's a pretty decent one, that we might be heading into the eddy. It's called the eddy minimum, and so it's going to be very similar to past ice ages. So some, depending on where you fall into the category, some say that this next solar minimum will just be very mild. That temperatures will drop. The temperatures will drop like 1 or 2 C. And they will just they will make certain regions really hard to grow certain stuff. It'll pretty much drop, if you're used to the zones, you're going to drop about 1.5 zones. So whatever zone you are, just imagine dropping about 1.5 zones. So that will affect a lot of climates. So it'll also affect the way where we grow food and how we grow food. That's if the eddy minimum is just kind of like a mild drop in temperature. And that was related to just natural cycles with the sun and things that we've seen in the past. So and now, that being said, we're not talking about another grand ice age where everything's going to freeze over. It's just kind of a drop down, because the big solar minimum, where the temperatures would drop drastically and you would start seeing snow around the equator. In all of the studies that I've read, that would require like some major changes that we're just not seeing. So, but anyways, this little one, this mild one, the eddy minimum, could definitely affect things. And so what that means is so I've been also planning for this. So knowing what I can grow in 1 or 2 regions above what I'm growing, knowing how to build certain things. Raised flower beds are a great option because you can always put a shelter over top of raised flower beds. The other cool thing about planning for the grand solar minimum is if for some reason the planet is getting warmer instead, a lot of the tactics that you're doing can be just quickly swapped and you can do the same thing. So if we happen to get warmer, which getting warmer would actually be a benefit to most of us because we'd actually be able to grow more food, and plants do well in warmer climates. We'd only lose we would lose less plants if the planet would get warmer. We'd actually open up more food production. But let's just say either way, there's just things like raised flower beds give you a lot more control. Putting in a greenhouse gives you a lot more control. Learning to grow inside. Learning to grow in containers so that you can always, if a hard frost is coming, you can pull the container into your front door. You can pull it into your garage. If you're raising animals, you can add things like heat lamps. You can add things like rocket mass heaters that you can build yourself, that you can burn on wood and things of that sort. So there's lots of tactics that you can go. If it happens to go too much hotter, then you can put in shade netting, and you can plant more trees, or you can bring more water into your vicinity, or you can do a lot of there's a lot of interesting things that you can do if you think the environment's going to go to one extreme or the other. And even if it doesn't go to one extreme or the other, learning how to garden in those two extremes means that even if we just have a couple really crazy days, so like for example, if it gets above 90 here, because 90s are very rare here, I can plan on that kind of stuff. Or if it drops below -11 Fahrenheit, because that's also pretty much the coldest I've seen. I have things in place. So I will say that I have noticed the weather in the 16 years that I've personally been tracking weather here in Flat Top. Now I am a microclimate, so this is just very extremely regional. I have noticed that weather is getting more extremes. So I'm getting quite a bit longer. Get quite a bit more colder days. So I've been keeping track of how many days in the course of a year that are days below, that we sometime throughout the day or the night it drops down below 0 or below 32 Fahrenheit. And then I've been tracking, and I track the hot days that it gets above 90, which I think is 90 is, I think 32, I think 90 is 32C, somewhere in that vicinity. So I've been tracking all of those kind of things, and I'm noticing that I'm having a lot more colder days, which also means that I have to pay attention to what plants and when to start plants. So like, I actually don't put a lot of stuff outside. I don't plan on doing any like major gardening of sensitive plants until after Mother's Day. So that's kind of the trick that I've learned from living down here. We can have snow up to June 1st. So yeah, we can have snow all the way up to June 1st. So that's something to keep track of. So yeah. Okay, so the weather is manipulated, but I fall into the category that the weather is manipulated regionally, not globally. So, and what that means is through chemtrails, through HARP, through the different types of device and such like that, they really focus on trying to focus the weather and just get it manipulated regionally. Because I don't think we can control global weather. I think that we can make suggestions, but I think...
well, my days are not taking you seriously. They're certainly coming to a middle.
Oh, thank you so much, Messiah. I think nature still does it, like with the jet streams and with lots of other things of that sort. I think nature still has a lot to say. Volcanoes is a good example. The sun, solar cycles, solar winds, such like that. But regionally, yes, they manipulate our weather. One of the biggest issues that I have is one of the biggest pet peeves I have is chemtrails, and not necessarily for the reason that most people might think. So I don't like chemtrails, even if they're not done for nefarious reasons. I don't like chemtrails because they change the quality of light that gets penetrated down to my ground, and so they make the days more cloudy, and cloudy days mean less sunny days. Less sunny days mean less is it blue light? Yes, less blue light coming down, and you need certain amounts of blue light and certain amounts of red light to get plants to flower and to fruit and to produce the kind of leaves and to be nice and strong. And so when they start manipulating, especially during the times when certain plants really want to start choosing to start flowering and such like that, dimming out the light with chemtrails and dimming out the light with producing more clouds is something that I'm genuinely concerned of. Hence the reason another reason why I think having a greenhouse and being able to control the light that you have in that greenhouse is also going to be important in the future. So again, I mean, and Mark's correct. Contrail, I guess maybe I should make it clear. So contrails to me is when you see the plane fly over, and in less than an hour or so, you can't tell that the plane went over because it's either the wind has blown it past and it's gone, or it's disintegrated down to the point where you can't see it. It didn't make the sky milky. It didn't actually affect the sky at all. Chemtrails to me are ones that linger for a long period of time and affect the quality of the light that's being penetrated down. So that's actually why I refer to the two as two distinctly different things. So I don't know what causes either one of them. I don't pretend to know that one is nefarious and one is just natural. They both could just be byproducts of how we chose to run our petrol-powered planes and such. So I'm going to not go conspiratorial here and say that it's done on purpose, but regardless, it's harmful. And even things like, when we have volcanoes and things of that sort, that actually does also change the quality of the clouds and the quality of the sunshine coming in. So and yeah, persistent contrails. Persistent contrails are what I call chemtrails. And cloud seeding is also what I call chemtrails. So, and chem just means it's a chemical that's being put into the sky. It doesn't necessarily even mean that it's necessarily a harmful chemical. But, even if it's just a little bit of an aluminum or if it's just a little bit of some of other additive that happens to be mixed in there. So those are all things that are going to affect my climate. Hence the reason I know it's going to affect my climate, so I should start planning ahead of time. That's really all it's down to is observing nature, observing what's been happening over the course of however long that you've had the opportunity to observe, keeping track, keeping records, and when you see something change or manipulate, you also change with it, and with hopes that your changes will be a successful change. So it could just be as simple as we hit a bunch of volcanoes, and the volcanoes are going to change the environment for X amount of years. We have 1816, the year without the summer, where we had, over in the UK, you have a documentation of where the that river Thames. I'm not good with words. We all know that. That river stayed frozen for a very, very long time, and they had winter parties and winter festivals on it. We had here in the United States, a lot of people don't realize, but in the 1816 is when Joseph Smith actually left I think he was in New York. Yeah, he left the New York area and started on his adventure because the environment was just so cold and things were just bad. So that's when that situation happened. And there's actually a lot of stuff that can link back to the year without the summer. So, and and we know that people's been trying to manipulate localized weather. I mean, you don't even have to say that people's been trying. We have places like Texas where they do cloud seeding. We have places in California where, because of the wildfires, they try to bring in clouds and they try to locally change the environment. These are things that they can do. We supposedly aren't in any type of weather wars because I think it was 1972. All the nations signed a peace agreement that we weren't ever going to use weather as a type of military type action. So, but we'll see how well they actually follow that. Regardless of all of that, that's why I think documentation and knowing every year what you try to grow, what grows well, what the environment was like when you were growing that. So, is just going to benefit you more. And and if you've never grown anything, this is the first year to start. It's definitely worth trying. So, and just seeing what you can grow, seeing what happens. So, yeah, Lacey, the fires in BC this last year and in the previous years, I've read a lot about that, and there's some bad things that happen up that. So, and so it's kind of, again, we can all be angry about this, and we can all be angry at the bad people that are doing the bad things, and we can be conspiracy theorists and try to share this information. But in reality, like, well, yes, we should always speak out, and you should always spread as much knowledge as possible. But you should also plan that everything you're going to say, no one's going to listen to, no one's going to pay attention to, and you need to plan for you, your friends, your community. So, it's self, family, community, state, country. That's kind of how I view things. So, you should focus on making the best version of yourself you possibly can. Make the best version of your family that you possibly can. And when I refer to family, just to make it clear, family doesn't necessarily have to be people you're blood related to. So, I'm just referring to people that are part of your close-knit, so some of your best friends, some of your people that you trust raising your kids, people that you trust taking care of your family members. Those are what I consider family. Family doesn't necessarily have to be blood. It just is people that you trust around. So then after your family, you have community. So after you've got your family strong, you build up your community. And your community also deals with folks that maybe you don't have a direct connection with. Maybe you know their name, maybe you know stuff about them, but you don't. They're not people that you necessarily interact with every day, but you want to help them next. And then after that, you go to your next level up. So some people that's state, some people that's city, and you work on that. And then from that, once you've got that accomplished, then you can move all the way up to nations and to governments and to stuff like that. But so that's kind of how I view that. So right now we are in the time that it's time to really be building. If you've already worked on yourself and you've got your family also kind of in line, this is when community building is vitally important. And most of us are never going to actually get past the point of community building because we have a lot of work to do. They've been destroying community in all countries all over the place for the last 50 years. And so we really, really have to be building back community, because once we have quite a few of really strong, prosperous communities functioning throughout the world, even throughout our own countries, even throughout our own states, then we have a lot more to fall back on. We have a lot more stronger support systems. So then we can go in there and we can start strengthening. We can start strengthening states, and we can start strengthening nations, and we can start strengthening that kind of stuff. So that's and what I'm saying is, it's not, one of the things that we make a mistake here in all of our Western worlds is we think we don't think in a large enough timeline. So we think definitely think about us. But sometimes, some communities even think about their children, but we don't think about our great-great-grandchildren. We don't think about 7 generations out. And I think it's always a good idea to try to think in 7 generations. So I'm a little bit different with when I think in 7 generations. I try to think 4 generations back and 3 generations back and 4 generations into the future. So I look back on what my great-grandparents did, and I look forward to see what the great-great-grandchildren that will exist will do. And so if you put yourself in the middle and you think in the past, you learn from the past, and you plan for the future, and you put all of that together as yourself in the center of the 7 generations. So we can take that, and you can learn lessons, and we can build, and you're thinking more in a way that will actually save the world. And understand that sometimes you got to take a couple steps back to move forward. Sometimes you just have to be patient. A lot of the trees that you're going to plant in your lifetime, you will never sit under that shade. So you're planting those trees for future generations, just as the people that cared about you and the people that have since passed on have built a wonderful thing. Like when I look at my house, I look at my house there and realize that house was built 125 or so years ago. So the people that built that house, they did all of the hard work for me. All I actually have to do is maintain that structure that they built for myself. And if I maintain that structure, then I can pass that structure on to future people. To future parts of my family, to future parts of people in my community, to future people that will also understand my values and understand the values of the past, and keep this structure safe and sound and functioning, and ultimately recycling the work. So I cannot make my own flour. I do not grow wheat here. So flour is one of my weaknesses that I do not have control over. So the insulation in my house, so I have some of the pink insulation. I have some of the pink insulation in the attic. Some of the insulation in the walls is just a mix between horsehair and some type of natural insulation that they used back in the day. And then insulation that I've updated, and insulation and such that I've updated. So a lot, and because the walls were built properly and such like that, it definitely has some good things. Plus, the other thing is the house is meant to breathe. So we're definitely, I plan and I know that the house is going to be colder during certain winter months, so that you just wear a coat. You just dress appropriately, and maybe have some heat. Maybe have some personalized heating devices in the room that you're in. That's the one benefit of us living in a world where electric is still fairly cheap, is while the entire house can be cold, you can set up a room and have personal heating devices to heat up that personal area, and to have yourself nice and warm, and the products that you have around you, without necessarily having to heat the entire structure. So it's kind of a different thinking. So I did an energy audit on my house, and let's just put it this way, it kind of broke the energy audit. It was not really possible to ever button up my house to the point where to make it as energy as efficient as it needs to be. And I will tell you guys, a lot of these new houses that they've closed up and they've made them like energy efficient boxes are actually not that healthy. because you're breathing a lot of recycled air. You don't have the breezes coming in. Most people don't open their windows enough to be able to get cross breezes, to get the stale air out. Most people don't have lovely plants in their house to do the oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange. Most people have a lot of artificial stuff, like you've got a lot of carpets, you have a lot of plastic, you have a lot of stuff that's outgassing. And so a lot of modern houses where we focus a lot on energy efficiency, they're actually, we're building not quite healthy homes to be living in. So one of the big things that I was really shocked of is I watched some videos because I went at one particular point, I was going to be a firefighter. So just mostly a volunteer firefighter, or mostly just things like that. So I used to have my red card. That means I could fight forest fires and such like that. So but anyways, in one of the trainings that I learned, and I always try to keep my trainings up to date. So it's been a few years since I've had my training up to date, but just a few years ago, they were showing how modern houses burn so much faster than old houses do because of all of the artificial, all of the plastics, all of the crap that we've put into our houses. A house, once a little fire started in a house, it used to be 45 to a minute and a half before most of the furniture would start catching on fire once it really started igniting. Today, it can be as short as 15 seconds because of the equipment that we have. So it's really interesting. So it's one of those things that I keep in mind now when I surround myself with goods in my house. And don't worry, I surround myself with plenty of goods because I'm a borderline hoarder, because I always try to repurpose as much stuff as I can, and that in turn, when you repurpose stuff, it kind of means that you hold on to stuff probably a little longer than you should. But anyways, when I surround myself with stuff, I think about the stuff. I think about if it would catch fire. I think about like that kind of stuff, and it's really interesting when you kind of change your paradigm and change your mind to think in other directions. So the good thing is, if my house caught fire, it would burn slower than current modern houses because of the type of wood and because of some of the stuff that me and Lisa choose to keep around us. We have a lot, we have a fish aquarium, we have lots of living plants. We have lots of very old equipment. So, yeah, my goal, me and Lisa's talked about this before, and we do have a plan. Our animals, would be our main. My parents and the animals are our main priority. Everything else can be replaced, and we do have things like we do have Lisa's artwork and such that would be absolutely a devastating shame to go. But our animals and my parents are our absolutely priorities to get out of the house. And if we have some time, then we have a few key items that we would really like to grab and go. But I also have plans in place. We do luckily have a fire. As crazy as it is, in the middle of nowhere that I live, there is a fire hydrant within 500 feet of my house. And while I currently don't have the type of equipment to get that on there, I do know some of the local I do know quite a few of the volunteer fire departments. And while it might take the police and EMS a long time to get to me, it does. The fire department would get here pretty quickly. So yes, my parents do live. They moved here just a few years ago. They moved in with us a few years ago. Now they don't do anything with they don't really do anything with the farming, or they don't do anything on that particular aspect. But yes, so my house is full. For those that don't know, so it's me and Lisa, my brother, and my parents that live here with me. So my brother's special needs. So he will probably, from this point on, he'll probably always live, if not with me, within a very close vicinity of me. So, and yeah, that's pretty much. Sun's starting to come out, guys. Let me spin around as the sun coming out. You got the sun. And the nice wispy cloud. At least all those are natural wispy clouds. Beautiful natural wispy clouds. So. Oh, by the way, guys. By the way, guys, I wanted to point out, if you guys have not read it, they have recently changed. Well, they haven't really recently changed, but they've DLive has updated its community guidelines, and they added a new mature category. So there is so what we're doing right now is considered family friendly. We have a mature category, and you can still be monetized. Everything is still fine on the mature category. And it's just more designed for adults, and for kind of like what were they saying? Yeah, it's kind of a more designed for adults and such like that. And then there is the X tag, and the X tag is you're going to be pushing the envelope and such like that. So I'm actually pretty happy to see that they have 3 categories now. I think that's fairly realistic. I think in most cases, most people would not ever need to put on the X tag anymore unless you're doing some really, really extreme stuff. And in that scenario, the X tag is probably appropriate. So I do like the 3 categories. So. Yeah, they just recently today. I just noticed they made the announcement of what the mature tag actually means. So, and the mature tag is if your product is kind of designed for adults. So, yeah, see, a few cars go past. Where I live is not super busy. I mean, that is a main road. That's a main road, but it's not super busy. Actually, this is in this few minutes that I'm sitting here, this is quite a bit of traffic. So that person in the white pickup truck, I think I know who that is. That's one of the neighbors going to the post office. So, but anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know that I will probably, just out of respect of understanding how that works, my Wednesday night show that we do, our evening shows that we do, I will probably turn that into a mature subject matter because we're doing it in the wee hours of the morning for us. So, yeah, that is one of the churches we have in Flat Top. I think we have. I can think of 4 standing churches in my little community. Yeah, that's the Flat Top Primitive Baptist Church is what you're seeing right in front of us. So they are very interesting, nice fellows. So we've had many conversations. So. We've had many conversations because so me being a ordained minister, I've actually performed quite a few marriages here, and we've had conversations about me being a religious person and where I fall into the spectrum and such like that. So, but nice. The preacher there that runs the church is very nice. I also used to do ghost hunting when ghost hunting was really popular. I had also people could do ghost hunting. There you go. If you guys want to see the, there you guys can kind of really see the church now. So the bell is in the little bell box there, and then you can see the cross over the top. So, but yeah, we used to do ghost hunting here, and they had some issues with me allowing people to do ghost hunting and such like that. But it was interesting. We had some good conversations, and I enjoyed our lovely conversations that we had. So always interesting to hear other people's point of views on things and how they perceive things and things of that. So yeah, the steeple's just across. It's just a small on this particular church. How many people go to that church? I would say probably 25 or 30 families go to that church, and those families can vary between 2 to 5 people. So, oh, Lacey, there is some lovely, lovely old churches down some back holler roads, some old abandoned churches. There's some really, really neat places. Hopefully this summer, even though I might not be able to do them live, I do want to hook up my phone and drive around and just videotape some of the back roads and some of the back adventures and such like that, and then share those on. Maybe what I'll do one day is I'll set up a camera and we'll drive around, and then when I come back, I'll do a commentary of what we're seeing and where we're at, and just showing you what a raw Appalachia, especially raw dying Appalachia, looks like, because a lot of the area here is just people leaving. It'll be interesting though, now with COVID and with the ability to be able to work from farther away, some areas right here might actually rebound a little bit, because now that you don't have to necessarily live in a city to have a good paying job and things of that sort, there could be more and more people that have wanting to move out and to enjoy life in the country. So it'll be very interesting. I'm kind of excited to see. I'm definitely kind of excited to see how the future for rural life changes. Some people are just not cut out to live in rural life. I've have a few people that live around here currently that I'm telling you they're not really cut out to live in rural life. They have regularly complaints about this, that, and the other, and it's like the one person was complaining that, it took 45 minutes for the police to come when they called the police, and we're just like, yeah, I'm like, the fact that they came at all is very intriguing. I'm actually just happy that the fire department can be here in about 15 minutes. So EMS probably about 30. So but no, my goal is over the next couple years is just to keep building community, and to as I can get, as I raise funds to be able to build more structures, and as I find ways to be able to increase my nonprofit, to be able to do more things, I will get more and more people to move out this way and such. So oh, by the way, guys, I try to mention it every once in a while, but if any of you are still using Amazon and you are not using Amazon Smile, so before, if you type in, instead of the www, you type in smile.amazon.com, you can type in that, and then part of your purchase goes towards a donation to your favorite nonprofit. So I have a nonprofit, which is the Mavis Institute, which you can look that up. But even if you don't want to use mine and you're going to continuously use Amazon, I do suggest using at least some other nonprofit out there in the world, because it is super, super, super helpful. So it has helped me and my nonprofit a little bit every year that I've been doing it. But just a FYI to those that to do that. It doesn't cost you any extra money. it kind of just causes it kind of just costs Amazon a little extra money. And so if you're stuck in an area where you're still going to have to use that, so because some people are like unfortunately some things I don't have a choice because all of the little mom and pop places have closed, and so my choice is Walmart or Amazon. And because some of the even smaller mom and pop places, because of how crazy my address is, I sometimes can't get things delivered here. So I have to do with what I have to do with the options that I have. So, but some of you are super lucky and you don't have to do with that. So, oh yeah, Fernando, he's followed me. He's down here saying hi. So. Oh, by the way, guys, I will, by the end of the week, I'll be mailing off the seeds to everyone. I've got a plan in place for, I'm still on the fence. I'm still trying to understand how to properly mail seeds into foreign countries. I know it's possible. I'm just trying to figure out a way. I was talking to a friend, and I have another tactic that I will, for those that have interested that live in Canada and Mexico, that I've told that I can send seeds to. I think I found a good way around that without breaking any laws and being able to do it legitly. So yes, Lacey, that's actually what reminded me. I got your email and I read your email yesterday. And so I will. You are on my list to have seeds coming your way very soon. So this Friday looks like it's gonna be my mail day to mail everything off. So, right, Fernando. Right, Fernando. Yep. Uh-huh. Yes, I see you. So, Fernando sitting on my lap.
I don't understand why we didn't leave that son of a bitch in a pool of his own blood.
We'd be dead. Can't get paid if you're dead.
Can't get paid if you crawl away like a bitty little bug, neither. Gotta share this job. 10% of nothingness. Let me do the math here. Nothing, and then nothing.
So thanks, Rev Jim. Glad to see the 4-month streak. Very, very much appreciate it. So. Yes, Fernando. But yeah, when it comes to seeds, I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm allowed to send. Lacey, there's a couple things I know I'm not allowed to send to you just because they're considered a pest in parts of the country. So, but most of everything else, it looks like I should be good to go. So. Oh, by the way, Rev Jim, I wanted to point out, if you are not aware of prohibited.tv, you should check out prohibited.tv. I think it might be another place in the future if silliness happens for you to do streaming. I am biased though, because I did help them set up that site. So I have worked with them a little bit, but just something to keep in mind for those that are also looking for other places to adventure around and see some cool other stuff. But no, thanks for swinging by, Rev. So. So this is my market garden. So this is a personal, well, personal's the wrong word. This is my lab garden. This is the garden where we teach classes, where we kind of set things up, where we do experiments, where I grow some of my own stuff, where we try a variety of different types of things. And so right now, what you're seeing here is just preparing stuff for next year. Thank you so much for the Diamond Rev, Jim. So, And then we'll be doing some, I'm actually going to be we're going to be putting in a fence line all along there. And then we're really going to be doing some more raised garden beds. And then in a few weeks, we're going to be doing another whole class on how to cheaply make a low tunnel. Those are ways to do low tunnels. Just show you that even if you're on a fixed budget, with buying the right products or having the right products sitting around, how you too can extend your growing season just a little bit. So peek up there and just get a nice little sweep of the sky and clouds again. That's with how spectacular Flat Top is today. Got a lot of trees down, but that's like I was saying, what's really cool about that is I've been wanting to really kind of force myself into building a rocket mass heater this year. And so having all this extra wood everywhere is kind of instead of letting it go to waste or just doing hugelkultur with it, I've got some new plans. So nature sometimes does some awesome ways to help convince us to do new exciting things in the future. So and I've got almost all the supplies. I will be picking up one more thing tomorrow. So this weekend we'll be doing the seed soil class, where it's a way to make your own seed starting soil to optimize seed germination, and a soil that you can make purely on your own. So and what's great about that is you can make it in bulk. So if you actually go look up seed starting soil, you'll realize how expensive it is. And what the class that I'll be teaching and we'll be going through is just to show you how to do it yourself on a fixed budget, on not a lot of money, and how to just make it. You can either do large scale or you can do small scale, or you can join with a group of friends and you guys can buy more of a bulk and then mix it all together. It also might even be a side business for you. Is a little side hustle is to make this up yourself and then sell it at a farmer's market, or sell it to folks that are wanting to get into growing seeds and things of that sort. And you can tell them all about everything about where the stuff came from. And so we'll come across a couple different options, because I have about 3 different options of how to make it based on what you can find locally, what you can purchase, and what you feel morally the best at doing. Because some people don't like using peat moss, so I have an option that's around using peat moss. That's kind of avoiding using peat moss as well. So I almost have all the supplies. So as soon as I do, we'll be teaching that class as well. And if you're wondering, if you want the worksheet ahead of time, just so you know, you can go to the nonprofit's website. Which, if you don't know the nonprofit's website, you can use 2 names now. It's either the mavisinstitute.xyz, or you can go to mavispharmacy.com, and that's pharmacy spelled with an F. Or you can just type in !M right now, and it should send you to. It should make the thing come across the side. So, well, some people don't like the way that some companies harvest peat moss, and so some people prefer to try to avoid using peat moss that is harvested properly. Because if it is harvested properly, it actually can have a strong environmental impact. And so some people want to know where they harvest the peat and how it's harvested, and it's not doing any environmental destruction. So that's why some people kind of shy away from that. So a coconut core, that's the shavings from coconuts, are actually another awesome way to build the seed soil. But again, we'll talk more about this as soon as I have the rest of the supplies here, and we'll go through the class. And by the way, guys, all the classes will be, not only are they here, you can watch them on DLive, but after I'm done the class, I'll upload them to my to my YouTube channel and to my Odyssey channel, which is Dr. Firefly, on both of that. So those are those are things that we can talk more about. And then it looks like what looks great is it looks like I should be at the end of the month. It looks like I should be getting my first bees, and so we'll be once springs hits and things of that sort, we'll be going back and hyper focusing again on raising bees. Having, for those that want to get into bees, I'll tell you all about getting into bees. I'll link you to some classes. So if any of you out there want to get bees and you're just kind of nervous and you want to have some online classes but you don't want to necessarily pay for the classes, I'll link you to where you can take the classes for free through the different type of extension services. And then, you know, we'll just go through and we'll play with the bees here, and I'll teach you what I know, and kind of be a resource for you guys that need to know more about the bees, because bees are probably one of my favorite things when it comes to farming that I absolutely love. So definitely one of the cooler animals to have on a farm, or cooler things to have on a farm. So, and then we'll also be talking about the greenhouse, because we'll be putting together a greenhouse as soon as I figure out which kit I want to buy. And then we'll also be we'll be fixing the fencing and trying to figure out new ways to keep my animals in so they're not roaming around, because after the fence broke, it kind of got it so some animals are out roaming around, and I'm trying to solve that. I'm trying to solve that issue at the current moment, because I have some of the ducks that are adventuring a little further out than I want them to. So I'm working on slowing all of that down. I'm doing a pretty good job. It's just a couple guys are still getting out. So anyways, we're looking at Sylvia. She's just kind of chilling out there with her chicken friends, and then some of the ducks. And then for those that want to know how I keep Sylvia in, we've got the solar paneled electric fence charger. So also, guys, I will be adding some more cameras to Lisa's Mavis Pharmacy page here on DLive. So if anybody has any suggestions of where they would like some more cameras, what other angles you would like to see throughout the course of the day, other things that you're interested in, so let me know and I will put up those cameras. Do I clip their wings? I have not clipped their wings, but there is one or two that I may have to. I was kind of trying to avoid clipping their wings because just in case a predator came around, but a couple of them have now started to adventure more off, so I'm going to have to probably get in there and convince them, maybe just part of their wings, and convince them to not do some adventuring around. So hopefully I might just be able to clip their wings one time, and that'll stop them from adventuring off. But I have to fix the fence first, because there's no point of clipping their wings if they can just walk through the fence. And so since I've had some damage of the snow and the storms and the course of the last couple of years, I have to really get in there and get the fences up and functioning and fixed properly. So that's what we're working on. That's why the fence behind me, I'll spin around again. So that's why, as you guys can see, we're redoing the fence and such like that. So so the coyotes, we've kept the coyote population kind of in check here, so they haven't came down and bothered the farm anymore. And the current coyotes that we have don't actually bother the farm, so I don't bother them. So that's kind of the agreement that we have. And yes, I do have some dogs. They're indoor-outdoor dogs, but they also do a good job. And Sylvia, surprisingly, a pig, does a really, really good job of keeping coyotes away as well. So lots of stuff. Again, for those that maybe don't realize or didn't know, I was a city kid. So everything that I'm learning, everything that we do here on the farm, even though I've been here for 15 years, is always a new learning experience. I was not built in with this type of memory. I've not built in with all of this kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff is just experiments, stuff I'm learning, stuff I'm trying to teach others. A lot of stuff I just try, even if it's going to fail or succeed. It's kind of just to see what works out, to see if I'm any good at it, to see if it does what it's supposed to do. So every day is kind of a learning day, kind of how it goes here on the farm. That's what's kind of fun. Every day is pretty exciting, something new, something exciting to think about every single day. So, like the front yard bunnies, I need to move the front yard bunnies soon. Because the front yard bunnies are also, the front yard bunnies moved up here and are also causing some havoc. So, we will be moving those to a new location as well. So, I should be doing the seed starting class probably Friday or Saturday of this week. So I will try to give when I get all the supplies and I have everything ready, I'll do a better announcement. I didn't bring the supplies. Oh yeah, I have some of the supplies here. So like I'm getting together, so I'm putting together, so I have the perlite now, and I have a little bit of the vermiculite left from when I taught the class last year. So I just need to get a couple more things in line so that the class, so I have all the supplies that I need to be able to show you guys firsthand exactly what, how to do the class and how to build everything, and then all that kind of stuff. So this weekend, so Friday or Saturday, the class, I should be doing the class and such. So again, I'll just remind everybody when it gets closer. And if need be. By the way, guys, on the in the replays right now, it's still there for a few more days, but in the replays right now is when I did the kombucha class, and you guys can jump on there and do the kombucha class, or if you happen to be watching this on something that doesn't keep replays, which I'm not sure which service that is, but you can go onto my YouTube channel, which is just YouTube X Dr. Firefly, and you can also see the kombucha class is, I think, the latest one I've updated. The latest one I've uploaded on there. And then also, if you don't use YouTube, you can go into Icie. And it's up on Icie. It's not up on BitChute yet because I've been having problems uploading things to BitChute. But you'll be able to find the stuff on those. And if you need help finding anything else, just let me know, and I'll give you. You can hit me up on Discord, which is !Discord, or you can hit me up on Guilded if you don't use Discord, which is !Guild. And I will direct you in the path that you need to go and help you guys with all the information and everything to try to succeed and to be as fruitful and kind of solve the problems that's happening. So thanks, guys, for being around to talk to today. Even though it was a melancholy day, it's nice to have people to chit chat with and such. So anyways, I think I'm going to head off. So, Mark, it's just Guild. It's not Guilded. I need to fix that, but it's just Guild. We'll link to my Guilded page. So, and, oh, by the way, guys, all of the exclamation points and such like that, if you go under my description, and you look under my description, you should see all the exclamation point tags down to view everything, so that if you need to, if at any time, like I'm not live and you just need a reminder of how to get a hold of me somewhere, you can just hit those tags anytime you see my anytime on my channel, and it should bring up the link and should make it work. So I kind of put the most important ones labeled in there, so if you guys need anything, it's there for you guys. Also, guys, if you interested in playing video games with us, we have a Minecraft server, so join us on Discord, and that's how you get access to the Minecraft server. That's where you get the super secret server code, which isn't super secret, but you get the server code so you can join us. And we got Dematra and Mark Boggs and myself and Terry Bacon and a few other people that are playing Minecraft. If you've never played Minecraft before, that's fine. You can come join us. And if you don't know anything about Minecraft, get on there and talk to me, and I will explain it more to you and help you with a trial run of Minecraft to see if you like it or not. So with all that, guys, I think it's time for me to head in. I've got to do some more grouting on the back porch, and I've got to do a few more projects outside before the sun goes down, and then I've got a couple things I got to do inside this evening. So a bunch of stuff on my plate, but that's how it normally is. So anyways, friends, thank you for joining today. Fernando's happy that you guys joined us as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow. It's Justin, Doc, whatever you guys like to call me. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Until tomorrow. Adios.